There once was a hill in Italy. At the top of the hill was a castle, and in the castle lived a duke. Every day, the duke climbed to the topmost tower of his castle and he looked out. Just below him was the town, full of white houses with red or brown roofs. Beyond the town, he could see the river curling around the hill. And beyond the river were vineyards full of grapes, and fields full of crops, and meadows full of grazing cows and horses and sheep and goats. And everything, for as far as he could see, belonged to him. Everything except one small house. It stood in a little garden beside a tiny field on the other side of the river. It was a low house with thick, strong stone walls and a solid wooden door. It had small windows with heavy wooden shutters to keep out the wind and the rain. The Duke hated to see that house because it did not belong to him, nor did its little garden with a beehive full of bees, nor the tiny field beside it, nor the 2 goats in the field. They all belonged to the old woman from Friuli. "I want them," said the Duke to his clever counsellor. "Everything else I can see from the topmost tower of my castle belongs to me. It isn't right that the old woman from Friuli should have a house and a garden and a field in the middle of my land. She must sell them to me at once." "She may not wish to sell them," said the clever counsellor. "Remember, my Lord Duke, she is from Friuli." "I don't care where she's from," shouted the Duke. And he called for his horse and rode clattering down through the town and over the bridge that crossed the river along the riverbank until he came to the small, strong stone house. He sat on his horse by the garden gate and shouted for the old woman. The old woman from Friuli came to the door. "Old woman, I want you to sell me your strong stone house and your little garden and your tiny field," the Duke told her. "Then what must be your master?" said the old woman, and she turned to go back into her house. "I'll let you go on living here," shouted the Duke. But the old woman went in and shut her solid wooden door. The Duke rode back to his castle very angry. "She won't sell me her land," he shouted to his clever counsellor. "Ah," said the clever counsellor, "I was afraid of that. The people of Friuli are stubborn. They are the stubbornest people in all Italy. And the old woman is, as I mentioned to your grace, from Friuli." "I don't care where she's from," said the Duke, and he twirled his fierce moustache. "If she won't sell, I'll put her in prison and take the land." "My Lord Duke, that is against the law," said the clever counsellor, shocked. "Then you think of a way to get me her land," snarled the Duke, glaring at the councillor from under his bushy eyebrows. The clever councillor thought. He went to a lawyer. "Can you prove that the old woman does not own that land?" he asked. The lawyer looked in his books of law. "No, I can't," he said. "She does own it. What's more, she always pays her taxes on time." The clever councillor thought some more. He went to a priest. "Can you prove that the old woman is too wicked to be allowed to own land?" he asked. "Certainly not," said the priest. "She is a good woman, if rather stubborn, but she can't help that. She is, after all, from Friuli." "I know," said the clever councillor gloomily. He thought hard and long. Then he went down to the marketplace and began to ask the people there what they thought of the old woman from Friuli. "Stubborn," said everyone. "Tell me something I don't know," muttered the clever councillor. "Is she honest?" he asked. "Does she try to cheat you when she sells her honey and cheese?" "Never," said the market folk. "She asks a price and she won't budge from it, but it's an honest price." "She's worse than a mule," said an old man. "Push her, she just pushes back, but treat her right and she'll treat you right." "Aha!" said the clever councillor. He went to see the old woman. She was moving a swarm of bees into a new hive. The clever councillor stayed on the other side of the gate, well away from the bees. "Please," he said to her, "won't you let the Duke have your land? He'll pay any price you ask. Please." "No," said the old woman. "You see that wall?" She pointed to her thick, strong stone wall. "Well, that wall is no stubborner than I am. I'm from Friuli." And she took the swarm into the hive. Some of the bees flew up and buzzed around the clever councillor. The clever councillor hurried back to the Duke. "It's no good," he said. "You can no more budge the old woman than you can budge that stone wall of hers. The men of Friuli may be the stubbornest men in Italy, but the women are even more stubborn than the men, as I should perhaps have warned your grace." "Isn't there anything I can do?" said the Duke, twisting his moustache furiously. "Well," said the clever councillor, "there is one last thing we could try. But no, your lordship couldn't possibly." "What is it? What is it?" bellowed the Duke. The clever councillor told him in his ear. "Never!" roared the Duke. The clever councillor nodded. Quite right, I should not have mentioned it." "You talked me into it," said the Duke. "Go and tell her." The clever councillor put on his best silk coat and his finest wig and went back to the old woman. She was milking her goats. "Dear lady," he said, "how would you like to marry the Duke? You'd keep your land and you'd be a duchess." The old woman picked up the pail of milk and emptied it over his head. "There's my answer," she said. The clever councillor went dripping back to the Duke. His silk coat was spoiled and his wig was ruined. "I give up," he said. "I've done my best, my Lord Duke, but she's beaten me." The women of Friuli are even stubborner than the men, but the old women are the stubbornest of the lot. What? Yelled the Duke. Are you saying that she won't marry me? I don't believe it. He stamped up and down and twisted his moustache almost off. How dare she refuse me? I'll be the laughingstock of the whole country. No, no, Your Grace, promised the clever counsellor. No one knows but our true selves. I wouldn't dream of saying a word. But what about the old woman? Screamed the Duke. What if she blabs? I'm sure she won't say anything, said the clever counsellor, soothing her. He kept his fingers crossed as he said it, though, but he was not at all sure. She can keep quiet or she can go to jail, bellowed the Duke. Your Grace, warned the clever counsellor, please remember she is from Friuli. If you threaten her, she will talk. He was quite sure about that. At last the Duke calmed down. Very well, he said, grinding his teeth. I'll not put her in prison. I won't tell her what I think of her. I won't do anything to her at all. I'll simply wait till she dies. Then I shall certainly get her land. So the Duke waited. And waited. And waited. But the days and the weeks and the months and years went by, and the old woman from Friuli went right on living in her small stone house, eating the honey from the bees in the hive in her little garden, and the cheese she made from the milk of the 2 goats in her tiny field. At last, the Duke himself died. He had a splendid funeral. Everybody in the town went to watch the procession of black coaches drawn by black horses with black plumes on their heads. Afterwards, everyone filed past and put flowers on the tomb. The old woman went to the funeral too. She laid a sprig of rosemary on the Duke's tomb for remembrance. Poor man! He would never have got my house and my land anyway, she told the clever counsellor. I made a will long ago. I've left it all to my eldest granddaughter. She's from Friuli